want to let you know again, if you're just coming in, there's no splash zone here at the Gwendolyn Show, so I encourage you to sit as close to the stage as you can. If there are empty benches ahead of you, you can move forward and fill in those empty benches. If there are benches ahead of you where someone else is sitting, you can take this hand and just push that person off, and then you get to move in and sit there. Come on in, you're just in time. You have extra credit, you guys, for moving forward. You're just in time. You haven't missed anything. Lords and ladies, I'm so excited that you're here today. I'm excited that you're here because I recently heard the most epic fairy tale I've ever heard in my entire life, and I would like to share it with all of you. Do you want to hear a fairy tale? Say aye. Aye. Okay, that was good and robust. Lords and ladies, the story that I heard is the comedic farce of Romeo and Juliet. How many of you know the story of Romeo and Juliet? Do you know it? You know? Oh, good, because I skimmed it. So I think I have all the parts, and if I forget something, you guys can let me know, but at the end. You got that? Say aye. Aye. Great. Are you ready for a fairy tale? Say aye. Aye. Great. Then without further... Okay, I got a pickle! Pickle! Oh, I love you guys. I now have a jug that says fill me with cider, please. Just so you guys know. My job is the best job, and my parents are proud. One of those statements is all the way true. One of them is not. Oh my god. Okay, not distracted. Everyone take a drink of your drink. It's probably, you guys, yesterday, my 4:30 show, I got 14 ciders given to me. Yeah, I can't put it. You're sure it's going to be interesting. You guys are real good at following directions. I like it. Okay, lords and ladies, are you ready for a fairy tale? Say aye. Aye. Thank you. Okay, show's over. I have priorities. Okay, lords and ladies, are you ready for a fairy tale? Say aye. Aye. Without further ado, I present to all of you the comedic farce of Romeo and Juliet, as told by Gwendolyn Steele. Here we go. Once upon a time, in an ancient kingdom of Verona, there lived a beautiful princess named Juliet Capulet. All Juliet wanted was to find love and be loved in return. But her father decided that he would be the one to choose who she would marry, so he locked her high in a tower so she couldn't even meet any eligible bachelors. I know. Meanwhile, in the same kingdom of Verona, there lived a handsome but a bit immature prince named Romeo Montague. Romeo was allowed to choose who he would marry, and he had his heart set on his flavor of the week, the fair Rosaline. Unfortunately, Rosaline had just subscribed for a whole year to Match.com, and she was not about to lose that $32.99. So she turned Romeo down, which means Romeo spent a lot of time complaining to his best friend Mercutio about how relationships never work out. He's probably going to be alone forever. Why does he even bother? I know. Hi, you guys, you're just in time. You haven't missed anything. You guys, some people just came in, knew they missed the very beginning. I'm just going to recapture them up to the story, okay? So far, this is the comedic farce of Romeo and Juliet. Juliet's stuck in the tower. She's not allowed to choose who she's going to marry. Her dad's going to do it for her. Hashtag patriarchy. Romeo's not allowed to in the tower. He's going to get married to whoever he wants, except he wants to marry Rosaline. And she's like, you play too many video games. And she's like, what? And so they're not going to get married. And that's about where we are. You guys got that? Say aye. Aye. Thank you. What is happening? Please hold. Bear with. I wonder how many of this holds. I'm not going to be able to carry this. It's going to get filled with bees. Okay, anyway. Okay. So, Romeo's not all the time to complain to his best friend Mercutio about how relationships never work out. He's probably going to be alone forever, so why does he even bother? Thank you. One night, Lord Capulet, that's Juliet's father, decided to throw a big masquerade party. Do you guys know what a masquerade party is? Yeah, okay, if you don't know what a masquerade party is, it's a party where everyone goes, they all wear masks, so you can't tell who anybody is, so you can get into a lot of mischief but not actually get in trouble. Okay, but here's the thing. Do not confuse that with a bank robbery, because that's another occasion where everyone wears masks, so you can't tell who anybody is, so you can get into a lot of mischief but not actually get in trouble. You have to keep those two things separate. Yeah, because if you accidentally confuse them, you are not allowed to go back to Oklahoma anymore. For like 5 to 7 years. Depends on the joke. Anyway, it's not about my life. Anyway, so everyone in the kingdom was invited to Lord Capulet's party. Everybody except for Romeo's family, the Montagues. You see, the Montagues and the Capulets had this decades-old feud. Yeah. It was something about one of them watched the entire season of Loki before the other one, and then they posted about it on Facebook. But you know how you can do the whole spoiler alert, click to continue? They didn't do that. That's how you get unfriended. Right, so they didn't do that, and then they don't, you guys got it. Did you guys all watch Loki? Yeah? No? Who said no? You did? Okay, no, it's okay. It's all right. If you didn't watch Loki, just substitute in Falcon and Winter Soldier. Yeah, okay, cool. All right, if you didn't watch Falcon and Winter Soldier, then substitute in Game of Thrones, How I Met Your Mother, Lost, MASH, Friends, Seinfeld, Animaniacs. Okay. How you guys are just in time. You haven't missed anything. You guys, some people just came in. I'm just going to catch them up to the story really quick, okay? This is the comedic farce of Romeo and Juliet. Juliet's locked in the tower, but sometimes she gets down from the tower. I don't know how she does it. I think she's got a dumbwaiter. She lifts the thing, goes in, shuts it behind her. You got to power those yourself. Romeo's not locked in the tower. He wants to marry Rosalind, and she's like, I want someone who has a job. And he's like, I work at Pizza Hut. And she's like, that doesn't count. And so they're not going to get married. There's a masquerade party. It's not the same as a bank robbery, because if you accidentally confuse a masquerade party and a bank robbery, then you don't get to go to Oklahoma anymore. But honestly, who wants to go to Oklahoma anyway? Absolutely no one. So no one's from Oklahoma, right? You're from Oklahoma, but you're here now. You're here now. Okay, blocking you out. Okay. I've got a lot of cider, and I don't know what's happening in the story I blacked out 5 minutes ago. Got it? Yeah. Okay. Thank you. So Romeo's family was not invited to the Capulets party, but Romeo, being the immature prince that he is, he decided to crash the party anyway. That night, everyone was winding and grinding. Stop doing this. Weird. This is not what anyone should do anywhere, especially on stage. Anyway, Romeo walked into the room. This is what he sees. Everyone stopped and staring at he. He had passion in his pants, and he ain't afraid to show it. You guys got it. Scarborough, Texas doesn't know that song. Anyway, Romeo scanned the room, looked around the room, and almost immediately locked eyes with Juliet. It was love at first sight. They made their way over to each other. Again, not like this. Because if someone came at me doing this, I would leave. Right? I would be like, my dog's on fire, I gotta go. Once Romeo and Juliet were face to face, they had a brief conversation, then they kissed. Ow. Yeah, no, it was correct. You're not supposed to make out with people that you don't know. I mean, I'm not saying I didn't do that for all 4.5 years of college, because I totally did. But you should make out with people you don't know. That's how you get mono. What I like about that joke is that some people laugh and some people just look down. And what started happening yesterday is some people shake their heads, yes. And that's how you learn about Maryland. Suddenly the clock struck midnight. Romeo had to run home before he got turned back into a pumpkin. Wrong story. Just trust me. Juliet asked her nurse who that handsome man was running out the door, and Juliet's nurse told her that his name was Romeo and he was a Montague. When Juliet heard that, she was devastated. Had her only love sprung from her only hate? Dun dun dun! Dramatic music. You guys can do it too, all together. Here we go. Dun dun dun! It's beautiful. Hi, you're just in time. You haven't missed anything. You guys, some people just came in really quick. I'm just going to update them to the story real quick. Okay, this is the comedic verse of Romeo and Juliet. Juliet's locked in the tower. Sometimes not in the tower. I don't know where she is right now. The GPS tracking I put on her neck is not working. Romeo is not locked in the tower. He's going to crash a masquerade party he's not supposed to go to. He's not invited because someone spoiled some TV show that maybe has or hasn't been seen by everyone in the audience. I drink a lot of wine, but today started with vodka, so it's going to be a great day. And that's not part of the story. I also made out with a lot of people in college. I had a list, and one time I was just going through sweets by the week. Anyway, it's not about my life. And the Romeo went to the masquerade party, and the Romeo and Juliet kissed, and if you make out with people that you don't know, that's how you get mono, but there's 3 kinds of mono. And so if you get the first kind of mono, you can't get that mono again, so you can make out with whoever you want. And if you get the second kind of mono, you can't get that mono again, so you can make out with whoever you want. So you can just make out with people until you get a mono, and then you get done with the mono. Yeah, see? I knew you looked familiar. And so then Juliet found out that Romeo was Montague, and her only love had sprung from her only hate, and we had dramatic music. Go. You got it? Yeah? Nope? Yeah? They're like, were you talking to us the whole time? Back in the back. Thank you for paying attention. Extra credit you. Okay, thank you. Okay. Later that night, Romeo decided he just had to see Juliet again, so he climbed over the wall of her courtyard and went up to her tower. Juliet, Juliet, he cried, let down your hair. Juliet's hair was not long enough, so they had to settle for yelling to each other from a distance. At first, Juliet was furious with Romeo for having crashed the masquerade party. She thought he might get hurt or even killed for having dared to come into her courtyard, but after another brief conversation, Romeo convinced Juliet to marry him, which is also weird. Like, you shouldn't marry people that you just met. If you guys did that, I'm not going to judge you, but you probably shouldn't marry. It's like what happens in Verona stays in Verona. Gosh, are you guys blushing? You're adorable. Anyway, Juliet agreed to marry Romeo, and Romeo said that Juliet could come to church the next day. He would have Friar Tuck there ready to marry them. Well, the next morning, Juliet was getting ready to leave for church, but her parents stopped her. They had a surprise for Juliet. They had finally decided who Juliet was going to marry. They decided Juliet was going to marry the County Paris. Dramatic music. When Juliet heard that, she was devastated. She was about to go get secret married to Romeo. She didn't want to marry the County Paris. Juliet begged and pleaded with her parents not to make her do it, but they said if she did not follow their instructions, they were going to ground her till she was 32. Yeah, I know, it's like 19 years from now. Don't do the math, it makes the whole thing real weird. Julia ran off to church anyway. Luckily, as promised, Friar Tuck was there ready to marry her and Romeo. After a brief wedding ceremony, which is the best kind of wedding ceremony, Romeo and Juliet said their I do's and then they parted ways. As Romeo was happily skipping down the block, he ran into Tybalt's. Dramatic music. Dun, dun, dun. Tybalt! I was right at the end, I like that. Tybalt was Juliet's cousin, and Tybalt was furious with Romeo for having crashed the masquerade party. Tybalt challenged Romeo to a duel. Dun, dun, dun. Tybalt! But Romeo did not want to fight Tybalt because Romeo was married to Juliet, and Juliet was Tybalt's cousin, which made Tybalt and Romeo friends with benefits. Okay, Romeo did not want to fight Tybalt, so instead Mercutio, Romeo's best friend from the beginning, jumped in to fight Tybalt for him. Tybalt and Mercutio fought, and as they were fighting, Romeo tried to pull them apart, but while he was doing that, Tybalt stabbed Mercutio right underneath Romeo's arm. Dun, dun, dun. Makes me so happy. As Mercutio died, he placed a curse on both their houses. He turned Tybalt into a beast and he gave him a rose. And he said, unless you can learn to love another and earn their love in return before the last petal falls, you'll be doomed to remain a beast for all time. Don't tell Disney I did that. They will sue me again. Romeo was so furious that Tybalt had murdered his best friend that he chased Tybalt down and he stabbed him to death. When the rest of the Capulets found out that Romeo had murdered Tybalt, they demanded that he be banished to the fiery pits of Mordor for all eternity. Juliet's nurse found out what was going on and ran home to Juliet's tower to tell her that Romeo had been banished and Tybalt had been murdered. When Juliet heard that, she was devastated. She began crying and wailing and wailing and crying, and finally, just to get her to shut up, Juliet's nurse promised she would bring Romeo to the tower that night. Well, nurses always make good on their word. Romeo showed up at the tower that evening, and then Romeo and Juliet had a slumber party. In the morning, Romeo and Juliet had a lovely discussion about ornithology. That's the study of birds. And then Romeo left. As soon as Romeo left, Juliet's mother burst in the door. She had another surprise for Juliet. Not only was Juliet going to marry the County Paris, but she was going to do it in 3 days' time! Dun, dun, dun. When Juliet heard that, she was devastated. She was already secret married to Romeo. She didn't want to marry the County Paris. You guys, you can't marry two people at once. That is illegal. Even in, yes, child, it is illegal. I'm an educational show. It's even illegal in Utah. Did you know that? No, you didn't know that? Now you, and the more you know. I'm gonna get fired. Juliet didn't want to marry the County Paris. No, she's already secret married to him. She couldn't marry the County Paris. Juliet ran off to church to see if Friar Tuck had any bright ideas about how to get her out of this pickle. Pickle. I know, I love the pickle part. I'm so scared now. Okay, hold on, you guys, because new people just came in. Hi Hi, you guys are just in time. You haven't missed anything. I'm going to catch up the new people to the story so far, okay? This is the queen of verse of Romeo and Juliet. Juliet's locked in the tower. She's not in the tower right now. She's at church. Romeo's not locked in the tower. He wanted to marry Rosalind, but she's long gone. We don't talk about her anymore. Romeo and Juliet met at a masquerade party where they did a little bit of whining and grinding, which is not like this, because this is a dramatic reenactment. Once they got face to face, they had a brief conversation, then they kissed, and I made out with a lot of people in college, but that's not part of the story. I'm just advertising. Then Romeo sought Juliet to her tower, and he convinced Juliet to marry him because he's captain of the debate team. He's very persuasive. Juliet went to go marry him, but she was supposed to marry the County Paris. His name sounds like a place, but it's actually a person. But she went to marry Romeo anyway. And when Romeo was wandering around, he got in a fight with Tybalt, because Tybalt stabbed Mercutio, and then I did a Latin for Beauty and the Beast. And if Disney finds out, they're going to sue me again. I won't be able to do the show anymore, so please don't tell them. And then Romeo murdered Tybalt, and then Romeo got banished to the fire pits of Mordor, and then he came back anyway, and then he slumber party. Ask your parents on the way home, children. He had a slumber party with Juliet, and in the morning he left, and then Juliet's mother, we're gonna have her marry Romeo in 3 days. No, everyone gets married, and this polygamy is illegal. Anyway, so Romeo he's in the thing, and I've had a lot of cider. Everyone take a drink of your drink. And pickle. And Juliet's going out to church to see Friar Tuck, and he bright ideas about how to get her out of this pickle. You guys got it? Say aye. Aye. Okay, thank you. Luckily, Friar Tuck is a super smart guy, and he had a very specific plan worked out just in case such a random occasion like this should arise. First, Friar Tuck gave Juliet a little bottle of potion. On the bottle, it said, "Drink me." He told Juliet when she drank from the potion, it would make her get smaller and smaller and smaller until she was very small, and then she could run and hide from her parents. They would come looking for her to make her marry the County Paris, but they wouldn't be able to find her, and eventually they'd probably give up looking. Yeah. Then Friar Tuck gave Juliet a little cake, and on the cake it said, "Eat me." And he told Juliet when she ate from the cake, it would make her get bigger and bigger and bigger until she was back to normal size, and then she could run away and live happily ever after in the fiery pits of Mordor with Romeo for all eternity. Yeah, Juliet thought this was a great idea, because Juliet is 13 years old. So she took her little drink me potion and her eat me cake back to her tower. When Juliet was all alone, she took a drink from the drink me potion, and it worked. It made her get smaller and smaller and smaller until she was teensy weensy, and then she scurried underneath her dresser and she hid. Her parents came looking for her to make her marry the County Paris, but they weren't able to find her, and eventually they gave up looking. Yeah. No, you're not supposed to do that. Yeah. That's bad. That's hashtag bad parenting. Oh. You can't just look for your kid for like 45 minutes and be like, "Oh, we didn't find them. Let's go make more." Yeah. You're not supposed to do that. You're not. You're supposed to look for them for at least an hour and a half. Meanwhile, Friar Tuck wrote this whole letter to Romeo explaining the entire situation, but you never can trust the mail service, and Romeo never got the letter. When he found out that Juliet was missing, he started going crazy. He started wandering around with no hat upon his head, his double all embraced, his knees knocking together and looking as pale as his shirt. He was ranting and raving about hawks and handsaws, and finally, Romeo's stepfather decided it would be a good idea to send Romeo off to England to cool off. I decided England's over there. I'm an educational show, and no one's gonna check. In the meantime, Juliet, in her tower, realized that no one was looking for her anymore, so she came out from underneath her dresser. Juliet took out a little eat-me cake to make her get bigger, and she took a tiny bite, but it didn't seem to do anything. So she took another bite, and soon she was growing bigger and bigger and bigger until she was as big as the house. Her arms stuck out the windows of the house, and her legs stuck out the doors of the house, and then this little white rabbit hopped by, and he was like, "Marianne, we have no time for to be as big as the house, get back to normal size." And Juliet was like, "I don't know where you came from, little white rabbit. I feel like I'm still in college." Not, that joke is about drugs. "But you're full of good ideas." The white rabbit pooped into a cloud of smoke, and Juliet drank from her drinking potion and made her get smaller and smaller and smaller until she was back to normal size. All of that growing and shrinking made Juliet exhausted, so she decided to lay down and take a nap. Meanwhile, Romeo came back from England without his two best friends, but feeling much better about himself and his situation. He decided he just had to go to Juliet's tower one more time. So he climbed up and went in, and what should he find there? But Juliet herself asleep on the bed. Romeo did the only thing that princes do in stories like this.
Ask for consent.
Don't give away the joke, dude! He gently shook her awake and asked permission to kiss her because consent is important. Juliet said yes, and Romeo and Juliet hugged and they kissed furious, and since no one was looking for Juliet anymore to make her marry the Count of Paris, they quickly ran away to live happily ever after in the fiery pits of Mordor for all eternity. The end. Thank you. Did I get all the parts? Yes? Did I miss anything? No? Does anyone have any questions? No. No? Yes, child. I'm really good at it. Thank you so much. You're my favorite. Extra credit for you. See, kissing up always wins, you guys. It's for you. Thank you. Yes.
In your 4.5 years in college, did you ever make out with Tybalt?
In my 4.5 years of college, did I ever make out with Tybalt? That's a very personal question. And you know, I really wanted to, but he was at a different school than I was. So I didn't have a car then, and I couldn't go there, and then he was on a hockey team, it was really hot. Anyway. Any other question? Yes.
How did Romeo find Juliet after she put on the One Ring?
How did Romeo find Juliet after she put on the One Ring? Okay. How did Romeo find Juliet after she put on the One Ring? Okay, so the ring that he got her from he got it from a pawn shop in Mordor. The guy who ran the pawn shop was old, shriveled, no hair. Precious ring. And so that's where he got the ring. And then Juliet was like, oh, this is a great ring. And as she's putting on, she's like, I gotta go away for a week to nursing school. And so he was like, okay, just put the ring on. He like turned away to get some pizza from the refrigerator. And he didn't even shut the refrigerator door because he's like that. And then he turned around, she wasn't there anymore. And he was like, where'd she go? Nursing school. It's fine. And then she came back from nursing school looking a little bit worse for wear. And she was like, he's like, where's that ring I gave you? And she's like, there's a fire pit. And I just had to throw it. I also looked at the inscription and it was not in a language I could read, so I thought that was the wrong ring. And that's how that happened. It's totally true. Any other questions? Yes.
Got any of them eat me cookies on you?
Do I have any of the eat me cookies on? No? I have nothing on me. There's no pockets in it. But I got some cider. You want some cider? There's a spigot. Spigot's a good word. Child, question child. Are those gold coins for giants? Yeah, but do you see any giants right now? What? I don't see it. There's a giant right there? Okay, I gotta take my gold coin back, Steve. I should what? Compared to me, there's a lot of things that are giant compared to me. I'm snack size. Thank you. Lord, please, thank you so much for joining me here today. I have 3 more shows. The next 2 are on the Globe, which is over there. I do famous death scenes with Captain No Beard. It's a whole lot of fun. Those are at 12:30 and 2:30. Please come and see us. My final show is right here at 4:30. It'll be the final show of the season, so who knows what's going to happen. It's the Greek romantic tragedy of the 3 little pigs. So if you enjoyed this story, come back for that story. If you did not enjoy this story, come back for that story because there's pigs in it. Stick around because up next on the stage in about 5 minutes. They're silent, they're deadly, they're a fool named O and Lala, so they're awesome. Stick around. I'll be out there in just a few minutes. I have buttons and stickers for sale. I also have cards you can take home with you that have all my social media on them so you can find me online and keep up with what I'm doing. Thank you so much for spending the beginning of your day at the festival with me. Have a great day. Thank you.